Her father has been dead for 4 hours. She knows this because she keeps looking at the clock on his bedside table, the same clock that has been in this bedroom since she was 7 years old, the one with the faded numbers and the crack down the left side that her dad always meant to replace and never did. He kept a post-it on the back of it for 3 years that said, "Replace this." He never replaced it. That was Raymond, a man who noticed everything that needed doing and trusted that the noticing was enough. 4 hours and 17 minutes now. The paramedics came. The neighbors came. Her mother sat in the kitchen accepting cups of tea she didn't drink, holding each mug with both hands like it was the only solid thing in the room. Rhiannon did what needed doing. Called the funeral home, texted her aunt, made a list on her phone of calls for tomorrow. As long as there were tasks, there was a next thing. And a next thing meant she didn't have to stop. Then she walked into his bedroom to get his jacket. Something to bring to the funeral home. Something that smelled like him. And his phone was on the nightstand. It lit up. She didn't think. She just picked it up. The lock screen came on. She pressed his thumb to it without thinking. He was still on the bed, 3 feet away. They hadn't moved him yet. And the phone opened. This is the part she replays. Not the first message she saw. The moment right before it. The half second where she was still just a woman standing in her father's bedroom, and everything was still only grief. Clean and terrible and entirely familiar. Then she looked at the screen. The thread at the top of his messages was labeled with one letter, N. 247 messages. The last one sent at 6:43 a.m. 40 minutes before he collapsed in the kitchen making toast on a Tuesday morning like it was any other Tuesday. She should put the phone down. She knows she should put the phone down. She opens the thread. The first thing she sees is a photo. A woman, maybe 40, dark hair cut to the jaw, a smile that knows it's being photographed and has decided to lean into it. And pressed against either side of her like bookends, 2 children. A boy, maybe 8, 9 years old. A girl, younger, 6, maybe 7. Rhiannon looks at the boy's face. She knows that face. Not because she's seen him before. She has never seen this boy in her life. She knows that face because she grew up looking at a version of it in her father's old photo albums. Her dad at 8, grinning at the camera, missing a front tooth. This boy has her father's jaw, her father's ears, the way they sit just slightly too high, something she'd always thought was only theirs. Her father's exact expression in photographs, that slight squint, the chin tipped forward like he's daring the camera to catch him being anything less than fine. She keeps scrolling. Years of good morning. Years of the kids are asking about you. Years of when are you coming? Years of I miss you, said so often it has stopped feeling like a declaration and become punctuation. And her father's replies. Steady, warm, the exact same voice he used with her. The same cadence, the same way he had of asking the small questions that made you feel seen. She is standing in the room where her father just died. She is reading messages he sent to a woman whose name she does not know, about children whose existence she did not know, in a language of love so familiar it is physically disorienting. Like hearing your own name spoken in a room you thought you were alone in. The phone buzzes in her hand. An incoming call. The screen reads, N. Rhiannon stares at it for 4 full rings. She watches the screen pulse. She is aware of her own breathing, the shallowness of it, the way her body has gone still in the way bodies go still when they know something is coming that cannot be undone. On the 5th ring, she answers. A beat of silence. Then a woman's voice, warm, slightly breathless, like she's been waiting all day for this exact moment. Raymond. Not a question, just his name, said the way you say the name of someone who is the organizing principle of your day. Easy. Familiar. His. Rhiannon doesn't speak. Raymond, the kids want to know if you're coming for dinner. Theo made a... She stops. The silence stretches. Hello? Rhiannon closes her eyes. She thinks about her father's hands, the weight of one on her shoulder when she was upset. No words, just presence, just the certainty that he was there and not going anywhere. She opens her mouth. This is his daughter, she says. Rhiannon. The silence that follows is not the silence of someone who doesn't know that name. She waits, and in the way the woman goes very, very still, not shocked still, but the controlled still of someone who has been quietly preparing for this call, Rhiannon understands that she is not a surprise. The woman doesn't hang up. That's the first thing. Most people, caught like this, would scramble, would manufacture some version of wrong number and disappear. Nadia doesn't do any of that. She breathes, one long, deliberate breath, and then, how did he die? Not, I don't know what you're talking about. Not, who is this? Not a single syllable of performed confusion. Just, how did he die? In 4 words, Rhiannon's entire world reorganizes itself. Because that question only makes sense if Nadia already knows who Raymond is to Rhiannon. Already knows there is a wife, a house, a whole parallel life, and has known for years and kept going anyway. His heart, Rhiannon says. Her voice sounds like it's coming from the other side of a wall. This morning. Another silence. Then, from somewhere on the other end, a child's voice, muffled, asking something ordinary about dinner or television, and Nadia's voice dropping low. Not now, baby. Go play. Baby. Rhiannon sits down on the edge of her father's bed, the left side. Always the left side. Her mother's standing joke for 40 years. She presses the phone to her ear and tries to locate something solid inside herself. There isn't much. Here is what she knew about her father before today. She knew he was the kind of man who showed up. Every school play, every Sunday dinner, every 11 p.m. phone call when she was 23 and falling apart. He drove 4 hours in the rain once because she texted him having a bad week. Showed up the next morning with a bag from the bakery near her flat, the one she'd mentioned exactly once 6 months earlier, and said, I was in the neighborhood. He was not in the neighborhood. He was never in any neighborhood by accident. That was Raymond. Deliberate. Every word, every gesture, every particular way he had of making you feel like the most important person in any room. All of it chosen. All of it craft. She understands that differently now. She knew he traveled for work. Consulting, he always said, vague enough that she never pressed. She knew there were weeks when he was unreachable. Her mother complained about it the way long-married people complain. Not with real anger, more like weather. Your father and his phone, always somewhere else in his head. She thought she understood what that meant. She did not understand what that meant. Back on the phone, Nadia is still there. How long? Rhiannon asks. 11 years. Rhiannon does the arithmetic without wanting to. 11 years ago, she was 26. First real job, first real flat. She remembers calling her dad from the car park on her first morning, palms sweating, and him talking her through it for 45 minutes. She remembers hanging up thinking, I am so lucky to have him. The boy in that photo is 8 or 9 years old, which means that while her father was talking her through her first day, he was already building something with this woman. While he taught her to parallel park on a Sunday, he was furnishing someone else's life. While he cried at her graduation photos, Actual tears, she has the video. He was 2 years into loving Nadia and raising children with her father's face, using the same tenderness he'd always given Rhiannon as though it were only exclusively hers. It was never only hers. Did he know you were going to call tonight? We talked every night, Nadia says. No softening, no apology, just fact. Stay with me. We are nowhere near the bottom of this yet. Subscribe so you don't lose the thread. Rhiannon asks the question she already knows will change everything that comes after it. Do they know about us? What Nadia says next is the thing she will turn over for the rest of her life. She doesn't tell herself she's going to respond to the photo. 3 days after the funeral, Nadia sends a message to the phone Rhiannon still hasn't returned to her mother. The boy, Kian, standing next to a framed photo of Raymond in a room Rhiannon has never seen, wearing his father's exact expression. Underneath it, 4 words. He misses him too. She stares at it for a long time. Then she types, "Can we meet?" She waits to feel hesitation, self-preservation, the instinct to pull back. None of it comes. She is past the point where protecting herself feels like an option. She has read 247 messages. She needs to make this real in a way a screen cannot. Nadia replies in 4 minutes. Yes. When? She drives 40 minutes outside the city to a neighborhood she has never been to. She used to think that if she were ever in a situation like this, she would feel rage. Clean, clarifying, directing rage. What she actually feels, pulling onto the street, is vertigo. The specific sensation of looking down from a height you climbed voluntarily, needing to know how far it goes. The house is a mid-terrace with a dark green door, window boxes, a small pink bicycle locked to the front railing, curtains visible through the window, warm-toned, patterned, the kind that tell you someone thought carefully about how the room would feel from the inside. Her father liked that, thought about rooms from the inside, used to spend weekends agonizing over paint colors, while her mother stood in the doorway saying, "Raymond, it's a wall, just pick one." She rings the bell. Nadia is taller than she expected, composed in the way of someone who has been building toward this moment for days, layering herself carefully so she doesn't fall apart in her own doorway. She steps aside. Rhiannon walks in. The hallway hits her first. Just the ordinary architecture of a home. A coat rack, 2 adult coats, 2 small ones, all of them worn and real. Shoes lined up underneath. A key bowl on a table by the door. Her father's keys are in the bowl. The same keyring she has known her entire life. The worn leather fob she bought him for his 50th birthday. He said, "I'll use this until it falls apart." She'd thought he was just being kind, sitting in a bowl in a hallway she has never stood in. Because this was also, genuinely, somewhere he came home to. She keeps walking. The living room is covered in photographs. Not tucked away, not managed. Photographs on every wall, every shelf, the mantelpiece. Her father at a beach somewhere, laughing with his whole face. Her father at the boy's birthday, mid-song, eyes bright. Her father asleep on the sofa with a small girl curled against his chest, his hand on her back, both of them completely at rest. He looks happy in every single one. Not managed happy, not the smile of a man maintaining a cover. Happy the way you are when you've forgotten anyone is watching. Happy the way that only happens when a place has become so deeply yours, your body stops bracing in it. She has photographs of her father like this. She grew up with photographs of her father like this. She was not the only one. The boy comes downstairs first. Football kit, one shin pad on, one in his hand. He looks at her with the careful, measuring look of a child who has been told something significant is happening without being told what. "Are you the other daughter?" Rhiannon's throat closes. "Yeah, I am." He nods. Information confirmed. "Dad talked about you. He said you were funny." She stands in this living room surrounded by photographs of a life she didn't know existed, being told by a 9-year-old that her father talked about her here, to these children, in this house. She was not a secret to them. She was just the other part. Later, when Kian goes back upstairs and Esme, 5 years old, who spent 20 minutes anchored to Nadia's leg, studying Rhiannon with forensic seriousness, has been settled with something on television, Nadia makes tea. Rhiannon sits at the kitchen table. School drawings pinned to the fridge. A fruit bowl. A child's painting framed above the window. "Our house," in careful letters. Her father ate breakfast in this kitchen. She knows it without being told. "Did you know about my mother?" Nadia sets a mug in front of her, sits down, meets her eyes directly. "From the beginning," she says. "Your mother called me 8 years ago." Rhiannon puts down her mug. "She found my number in his phone. She called from her car, parked outside a supermarket. She told me that detail. I've thought about why. I think she needed me to picture her somewhere ordinary, somewhere real." Rhiannon doesn't breathe. She asked me one question: whether I loved him. Nadia's hands are flat on the table. Her voice doesn't waver. I told her yes. A pause. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, and I have never forgotten this, she said, "I'm not going to fight you for him. That's not a competition I'm willing to have. But I need you to know that if this ever touches my daughter, I will burn every part of this down." And then she hung up. The drive back to her mother's house takes 40 minutes, and Rhiannon covers it in a state she has no category for. Not rage, not grief. Something that sits between them, using elements of both without being either. She had built a clean version of her mother this week. A woman deceived, a woman innocent, a woman Rhiannon was quietly protecting. That version gave Rhiannon a clear role, the one who knew, the one who would decide. That version is gone. Her mother called Nadia 8 years ago, got the answer, made a decision, alone in a car park, shopping in the back seat, to go home, to stay, to continue, to give Rhiannon a father who was whole and present, even while carrying that knowledge in silence for 8 years without letting it show. 8 years of Sunday dinners. 8 years of your father and his phone, delivered with an eye roll that looked like mild tolerance, and was also, Rhiannon now understands, a performance. A woman maintaining the version of things that kept her daughter intact. And the question pressing against Rhiannon's chest right now? Was that love? Or was it survival dressed as love? Was she protecting Rhiannon? Or protecting herself from blowing up her life at an age when starting over felt impossible? And is it Rhiannon's place to decide? She doesn't have the answer when she pulls up outside the house. Pauline is in the living room, lights low, Raymond's old shapeless gray cardigan on, the one her mother used to mock gently, the one he refused to throw away. She looks up when Rhiannon walks in, and something moves across her face that is not surprise, something older. The look of a woman who has been waiting for a specific knock for 8 years, and finds, now that it's come, that she is almost relieved. "Sit down, love," she says. Rhiannon sits. "You met her?" Not a question. "How did you know?" "You have the same face you had when you were 11 and found out Father Christmas wasn't real." A pause. "And because you're your father's daughter. When you need to know something, you go and find out." She says it without bitterness, without any edge. The plain observation of a woman who has watched someone for 34 years. What comes out of Pauline over the next hour is not dramatic. It is the quiet account of a woman who made a decision and lived inside it so completely it stopped feeling like a choice, just became the shape of her life. She knew there was someone. She called. She found out the someone loved him. And she made a decision she will not defend and does not apologize for, and asks only to be understood. She did not know about the children. That lands differently. Rhiannon watches it arrive, watches something cross her mother's face that is not the old managed grief of a woman at peace, but something sharper and newer. Pauline goes very still, rights herself. "I made a decision," she says. "You don't have to respect it, but it was mine to make." "He didn't give you the full picture," Rhiannon says carefully. "He let you believe it was smaller than it was." A long silence. "No," Pauline says. "He didn't." And something shifts in her composure. Not breaks. This is not a woman who breaks in front of anyone, but moves. A tightening around the eyes. A breath pulled in just slightly too fast. Because there is a difference between knowing your husband loves someone else and knowing he built them a family. A different order of magnitude entirely. And Raymond knew that difference. When her mother called Nadia from that car park, when she made her choice and came home, Raymond knew exactly what she was choosing based on, knew what she didn't know. And he left her there, on that ground, for 8 years. He let her stay on false footing and never once reached out a hand to correct it. That is the thing Rhiannon carries home. Not the affair, not even the children. The smallest, most precise thing of all. He knew what his wife had chosen to accept, and he gave her less than she was even choosing for. 3 weeks after the funeral, Rhiannon drives back to the house with the green door. She tells no one, just goes. Early Saturday morning, the city still quiet, the autumn light doing something considered with the streets. She drives without a speech prepared, without a plan, just the need to walk into that house again when it isn't the first time, and see what it feels like when the shock has cleared and only the reality remains. She rings the bell. Kian answers. Football kit. One shin pad on, one in his hand. He looks at her and does the careful loading pause that she is already learning is simply his face, the way he takes things in before he reacts. "You came back." "I came back." He steps aside. She walks in. This is not a story with a clean ending. Rhiannon would be the first to say so. She is not standing here to tell you she forgave her father, or arrived at an answer, or found a version of this that resolved into something comfortable and complete. None of that happened. That version of this story is for people watching from outside it. What actually happened is smaller and stranger and more real. She sat at Nadia's kitchen table for 2 hours. Kian showed her a video of a penalty he scored the week before, narrating it with the self-assurance of a child who knows the performance was excellent and sees no reason to be modest. Esme, eventually, stopped anchoring herself to Nadia's leg and appeared at Rhiannon's elbow and asked without any preamble whether she wanted to see her drawings. She did want to see the drawings. Esme draws horses. Badly, joyfully, with total commitment to the image in her head and no concern for what ends up on the page. Her father drew horses exactly like this. Rhiannon remembers sitting next to him at the kitchen table as a child, asking him to draw things, and his horses were always wrong and always confident, and she loved them precisely because of that. He'd sign them with a flourish. Masterpiece. She'd put them on her bedroom wall. She sat at Nadia's table looking at a 5-year-old's drawings and felt something she has no word for. Not happiness, not grief, something that lives in the seam between them. The specific weight of loving someone whose love turned out to have more rooms in it than you knew, and having to decide what to do with all of that space. She has not forgiven her father. She's not sure forgiveness is the right frame. She is not a courtroom. She is not here to issue a verdict on a man who is no longer present to receive it. What she is doing, slowly, without any map, is trying to hold 2 true things at once without letting either one erase the other. True thing 1. Her father loved her. Completely. Genuinely. Without performance. She has 34 years of evidence, and she will not surrender it. Because surrendering it means rewriting every memory she has. The love was real. She is certain of this, the way she is certain of almost nothing else right now. True thing, too. Her father was also a man who decided, at some point she will never be able to locate, that his capacity for love made him exempt from the ordinary rules, that the love itself justified everything, that the people around him were resilient enough to absorb whatever his choices cost them, that they would be fine. And the cost was real. Her mother, who carried something alone for 8 years that she should never have carried at all. Nadia, who spent 11 years loving a man who was always, in the structure of his life, giving her the second key. Kian and Esme, who will spend their whole lives explaining something they didn't choose. Rhiannon, who is only now, at 34, learning that the person who made her feel most known in the world was someone she did not fully know. All of them loved by the same man. All of them shaped by a decision he made once and never revisited. People show you who they are. Raymond showed everyone. They each just saw different rooms of him. The thing she returns to, late at night, is this. He never lied about the love. He lied about the scope of it, the geography, the other people living inside it. But the love itself, the care he showed, the presence he brought, the specific attentiveness that made everyone he loved feel like the center of something, that was not manufactured. She has 247 messages. She has a room full of photographs. She has a 9-year-old who says her name like he's known it for years. The love was not the lie. She doesn't know yet whether that makes it better or worse. She thinks she'll still be working that out in 10 years. Some questions don't resolve. They just become something you carry differently over time. Lighter some days, heavier in others. What she knows right now is that she is going to Kian's football match next Saturday. That Esme has already made her promise to come back for the rest of the horses. That her mother calls every evening now, not to talk about Raymond, not to process or unpack, just to hear her voice. Just to stay in contact in the way people move toward each other when the ground has shifted and they need to feel someone else is still standing. That is not healing. That's not what this is yet. That is just what comes after. The slow, unglamorous work of continuing in the shape that remains when something enormous has moved through you. You decide what to carry. You decide what to set down. You go to the football match. You look at the drawings. You call your mother back, and you keep going. If you've ever had to hold 2 versions of the same person at once, the one you knew and the one you found out they were, come find me in the comments. Tell me what you carried. Tell me what you let go. And if this one found you at the right moment, share it with someone who needs permission to trust what they already know. That's what we're here for. I'm Hani. People always show you who they are. Wet Teddy just slows it down. I'll see you in the next one.